All right. Things going here.
Of course. Interesting maneuver.
Dylan TA just subscribed. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna cry. That's my boy. All right, let me get these messages out. And let people start rolling into stream. Oh, I know. Just the handsomest developer of Dark Deity around. You ain't never seen it done like this. Okay. That and wait for people to start rolling in before I start going over some of these menus for the first. Let me know if I'm cutting out or the audio levels are fucky or whatever. This is the first time we're letting audio come through from the actual game. So, what's up, Pokey? Fortis. Wait for Denver. Going up. On Twitter. And we are good to go. Jerry301. I haven't seen you drop by in a while. How you guys doing? Blackstar, there will be no Kalith Ludes. Thank you very much. Kalith is a very respectable moon elf in every capacity. Valyria, was her name? Have we not shown her name? Pokey? I was pretty sure that I was safe to show to show these units. Hey Phil, what's up? How's it going over there? How's Symphony of War 2 coming along? But Mortis! Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, respectful my ass. Black Star. We both know that's simply not what's going on. Yeah, I'm excited to start. I need to take a look through the Symphony of War channel and see all the new stuff you've been dropping. Jerry's been busy with college. Ooh, very nice. What year are you in, Jerry? King Luthien, excited to see the weapons. You like the Dark Deity weapons. Najalim's here, what's good? So, Dark Deity's weapon system is pretty different from the first game. And there's less focus on... And when I go into the menu, I'll kind of explain this, but there's less focus on moment-to-moment swapping between weapons and, you know, having every tool available, and more focus on making decisions on what your units are specialized in going into the levels, and then, you know, using them together to tackle situations. Alden is all grown up and hunky, true. Gary, I don't know how the system works and all, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it's supposed to normally go. You're skipping a few grades there, aren't you? So X, I think that's a new name. Welcome to stream. Sorry if it's not a new name, but I feel like you haven't been by before. Welcome. Just as per usual, waiting for people to sort of filter in before I start really looking at these menus. But Just a disclaimer, as it says on the screen, all of this is still pretty early in development. A lot of these menus we like just put in the game. Some of it I was working on 5 minutes before stream. So, there's going to be issues like those graphical errors. Most of that is not stuff that's going to, well, hopefully all of that is stuff that's not going to be in the final game. But I decided it's just about time to start showing you guys the actual game. Imagine that.
Of course. Interesting.
See, left to right top is upgrade scaling. I'll go over it in a sec, Pokey. Tex, thank you for the sub. Oh my god. That is very nice of you. Yeah, the first one had a lot of rough edges. Probably a little more than the edge was rough for Dark Deity 1. We're working on getting past that. And yeah, just want to be very clear that all of these menus are in progress. There'll be issues. Who knows? We might even get a crash while I'm showing them off. Probably not, but just don't have expectations too high. This is a somewhat spur of the moment decision to start showing these off. Although I haven't had an actual in-menu crash in a very long time, so that would be really unfortunate if that did go down. Let's see, I see select mission is Dark Deity 2 not a direct mission-to-mission like Dark Deity 1. There is an overworld map, and I might just go down the list and show off the whole base, so you'll see this. Excuse me. Now, the menus, like, you know, a lot of these graphics will be final, but it's the little polish, like, ability and upgrades here on the screen both come out of their window a little bit. That's obviously not going to be the case in the actual game. But while I'm implementing things and moving stuff around, I don't always take the time to really do those little graphical touch-ups that you kind of look for. So, I feel like that's a good place to start. Black Star is asking select mission versus going directly in. And I'm going to show you, we changed how this works, so don't like read too much into what the menuing looks like, because it's literally just like a repurposed button right now. But if you come to select missions, you're anchored here at Celeborn, which is the sort of home base of the Order. What's up, Canadian Uncle Sam? Welcome. I know there's more than 5 people in here. You wouldn't believe it, right? So you're anchored at Celeborn. This is home base of the Order. Yeah, it's supposed to be old school. This map is... Sorry, there's a question. Is this map consistent for Dark Deity 1? Most of these locations were planned out during Dark Deity 1. Gruff, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Most of these locations were planned out, but we did not have an explicit map. So some of them are going to look like where they were in the first game, and some of them won't. But this game takes place on a different continent from where the first place did. So we took the time to sort of really revamp the world. And the world is really important to Dark Deity 2 because you really go all around the continent. And so this map is going to be a touchstone for you, essentially. So right now, the only thing that we have access to is Chapter 6, right? And so it basically will, like, hover over where the mission takes place. Which for Chapter 6, you're in the Towering Weald at a undisclosed location, which is why it's not, like, you know, hovering over to Delphwatch or a named settlement. You're kind of just in the middle of the forest. So, you know, when you ask about how does the flow work, there's going to be points where you have a choice between a couple missions at the same time. And you would just come in here and, you know, on the menu, select between them, and then you click it and go into the map. And it's pretty simple. And full disclosure, the inspect map button is broken as shit right now because I decided I wanted to do it, but then did not decide to implement it yet, so we're just going to ignore that. Yeah, you will be able to zoom and just look around the map at will. When the inspect map option is in, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet because it's really cosmetic, and I'm mostly still focused on just making sure all the functional stuff works, which we'll get into in a sec. But yeah, you'll get used to looking at Celeborn because this is where the map is anchored. This is home base. This is home for Dark DD2. Well, you spend a hilarious amount of time not at Celeborn. So, let's see. Also, is that an Easter egg or supposed to be there? The dwarf in the mountain etching. Yeah, the map is absolutely riddled with little graphics and creatures and Easter eggs. There are a lot of little like flavor elements to the map that aren't necessarily directly giving you information, but I think you'll discover that as you play the game. Some of them reflect elements of the story. Yeah, I think people will have fun learning about the world and the map because it's really a central part of what makes the story of Dark DD2 tick. So here, I'll come on over to the inventory. And this is something that, again, this menuing is a little bit more needing work than some of the other menus we're going to come into because we've changed the rune system so many times that you know, it's not really like feature built like it's supposed to be. I'm going to be making some changes to how it works. But Gwyn is in a sword class. Actually, she's in like the least swordy sword class, which I'll get into at a later point in time. But Gwyn is in a sword class, so she, you know, can choose from the sword weapons that are in storage over here. If you click, you can, you know, equip one of the different ones. Let's see if it doesn't. Right, so if she puts one of the other long swords on, she'll have an empty rune slot, and she'll lose that 3 might bonus, which is, I guess, I'm kind of in the way of stats, but in the bottom, let's see, how do I point to this? In the bottom left of the screen, you'll have weapon power, crit, accuracy, and weight, and they have their, you know, bars for how much it has. And the longsword is a pretty strong early item that you get. The runes are going to go into this, and let's see. We'll show off the longbow, I suppose, because we actually have a bow rune, so you can look. As your weapon quality increases, or as you get into unique weapons, Loose One, thank you for the follow. Welcome to stream. And anyone, you guys can stop me for questions at any time. I'm kind of just going over information like I do. Oh yeah, there's not all of the weapon icons are done. That, I feel like that might be clear. Until we have finalized the weapon lists, we're not like filling out all the weapon icons. So pretty much everything uses this, like, not generic, but this one sword icon is just the generic. Luminosity, thank you for the follow. We got a lot of new people in here today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the follow. And again, I'll take questions at any time. I will answer any question. I accidentally leak information all the time, so if you have a question, drop it. But yeah, so runes are going to be for the more generic weapons, right? Where the longbow is really like a weapon you're going to see a lot of. Most of the runes are going to be modifiers, right? So they're going to change how it functions. They're going to increase one stat, decrease another stat, that sort of thing. With more unique weapons, like Saxon here has the scimitar, which there's only one scimitar in the game. You cannot get any more than that. And even this one scimitar is actually gotten from... there's a choice between a couple weapons. And this has as a high crit weapon, has different options on it. One of which is the Assassin Rune, which makes your crits deal more damage if the target has full health. If you want to, that's too damn bad, Doolittle. Only one scimitar. Until someone comes in and mods them in, because that was happening for the first one. Oh yeah. Your freedom is a little bit more limited in a variety of ways for the game. Okay, Canadian Uncle Sam is asking how many people approximately are working on the game. And it's a bit of a complicated question. So, on the engine side, I do all of the coding and majority of the game design. And then we have, I want to say 15 people on the team, most of whom are artists. And then we have a composer, we have a stage designer who does the level designs. Odin, no. Sorry, my cat just tried to jump on my power button. That would have been very rude of you. He's gonna do it again momentarily. He's a little demon. Yeah, C Knight here in the chat is the stage designer. But all told, maybe 16 in various capacities. We have a super talented animator who only does the pet animations, for example, or animal animations. And then, we have animators that work on a bunch of things. We have a background artist, character artist. It's a super varied team. I absolutely love our team so much. It's actually like a large portion of the team are people who were hobbyists and weren't really like professionally pursuing whatever role they're working on. But we sort of see the passion and the talent. And we're like, work for us, do this. We got Pokey asking if Saxon uses a sword. He does in the class he's currently in. Which I'm going to be very careful to not show off. And there's no head swaps for it yet, so you don't get to see it. But he is in a sword class. You can promote and change classes before level 5. That was, something I talked about in the past. As soon as you get the class-changing item, you can change any of your units into a tier 2 class. And that's part of the early game flow. I wanted people to get into choosing their classes sooner, but also you can change classes after the fact, so there's less risk to, the decision making early on of, oh, if I make my main character this class and they're bad, I'm just fucked. You don't really have that so much in Dark Deity 2 like you did in the first game, because you can spend a little money and change their class in the future. And I'm sure there's going to be strategies passed around where you want to level up in one class to get the stats, and then, you switch for the abilities or whatever of another one later on. It changes the dynamic really quite a lot. And in ways that, I think people would generally appreciate. It's Dark Deity Lover 69! I want to say someone told me who you were, and I've already forgotten. But, thanks for dropping by. Sorceress of Books, thank you for the follow. Canadian Uncle Sam, are you tying into the story how Alden is weaker than he would have been at the end of DD1, or is it more of he just comes into the group at a higher level, like how some character? Yeah, Alden is. I don't know if you can see above. This is an actual save. Actually, well, I have removed some units from the save intentionally for this session so that you don't see them because we haven't shown them yet. But this is my actual save right now. So Alden starts at level 10. He has not leveled up yet. Alden is your Jagan. And Alden is, like, explicitly in the lore extremely powerful. We don't really shy away from that. And yet I still leak, yeah. I thought we showed Valyria in the trailer, didn't we? Did we just not show her name? Is it, am I pronouncing that wrong? Is it not Jagan? Is it Yagan? What's the correct pronunciation on that? Yeah, Alden. Let's just put it this way: we have not forgotten that we sold Alden as an incredibly powerful character by the end of Dark DD 1. That is still very much the case. Um, Although the class he comes in here, actually, I can just show you. Oh my god, I can just show you. Imagine that. Okay, well, let's run over to the abilities here. We're seeing some stuff here. Seeing lots of stuff here, new stuff. So let's take a look at Alden, right? You either die a child soldier or you live long enough to see yourself become the Jagan. That's honestly extremely true. I fuck with that. Sin City? That's a fun name. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to stream. Oh, Caligma was asking what it means. I'm so sorry. I totally missed. I missed that. Yeah, it's a unit that's much stronger than your other units at the start. That's what Alden is. He's like a crutch. The fun thing about Alden as a Jagan, as that really strong early game unit with abilities, is that he's in a support class essentially, and he can spend pretty much all of his mana making combat easier for your lower level units without stealing their XP. You know, a big problem with your overpowered early units in these games is you feel bad when you use them because you're sapping XP from other units. He has a really, really strong support kit to allow you to tackle levels and distribute your XP very intentionally. So if we just go down the line, right? Aura Wave is his personal ability, which you can see got his little icon there. And Weak is a debuff in Dark DD2 that for every stack of it, you deal that much less damage for a certain amount of attacks. So debuffs function on a severity system, and if you are lightly weak, it'll last for one attack. If you are weak, it'll last for 2 attacks. If you're heavily weak, it'll last for 3 attacks. And so what Aura Wave does is it makes an enemy, and this scales with mastery, so this will increase and be useful over the course of the game. What Aura Wave does is it makes a character, at least at the current moment, deal 9 less damage for 2 attacks and take 4 more damage. So he can spend his mana and make combat easier for another unit without, stealing their XP. And let me catch up on chat. Sorry. Always a mixed bag on... Oh, I missed Najalim's. I feel like being able to change classes after the fact kind of diminishes the identity of each. I actually completely agree with that, and I think it's something that Dark Deity got right. But you'll see for a ton of reasons that this game functions better with a little more flexibility. Which I can get into another time. And I would definitely say that's true also, Najalim. He doesn't fall off. He's not intended to fall off, at least. And Pokey, yes. Alright, Pokey's asking the relevant questions here. I'm realizing now that this probably looks confusing because it's saying you have 2 of one and 0 of the other. That's my bad. We don't have... There are 2 tiers of essences, and I'm using as a placeholder the crystal essence image for both. You can see with the knots here that I've already upgraded Phase and Ancient Writ in this playthrough to decrease the mana cost. Phase normally costs 60, Ancient Writ normally costs 50. I've reduced both of their mana cost by 10. The reason this has 0 is because you spend a tier 1 essence to upgrade your first choice, and then tier 2 essence to upgrade the second one. Oh yeah, look at that. Generic description too. That's how you know your game is really complete. And these, again, you choose 2 from the 4. So, trying to think how best to explain this. Basically, these 2 I'm not going to be able to upgrade for quite some time because I won't be getting tier 2 essences. You can get... especially if you're funneling your resources, you can get that first upgrade pretty easily, but specializing your ability and getting a second upgrade takes some time. You don't start getting those tier 2 essences. And a great question that Oki was raising was, what is he uses crystal essence. So how it works is, go over to Gwyn. Gwyn has all 3 kinds of essences. You'll see, I guess you can't see Hemorrhage right now, but red abilities with a red backing are attack abilities, and they are leveled up with Flame Essence and Inferno Essence. Green abilities are leveled up. They're generally support abilities, support-oriented abilities, are leveled up with Life Essence and Verdant Essence. And blue abilities, which are utility or debuff specific, things that can't really be easily categorized into attack or support, they are upgraded with Crystal Essence and Shimmering Essence. Essences are, yeah, essentially, if you've played Dark Deity 1, essences are the new weapon tokens, and instead of upgrading weapons, you upgrade your abilities with them. And now weapons are more of a actual object that you buy and sell and throw around. Najalam Mastery says Mastery is one of the best innovations made in Dark Deity to dethrone speed as the end-all be-all stat. I love Mastery. You may be able to tell because it's, in both games. I think that Dark Deity 2's version of Mastery, which is, increasing your abilities efficacy, is a much, much more interesting thing, for lack of a better term. It's a more interesting usage of the idea than what it is in Dark Deity 1, in my opinion. So, would Heal be a green ability? Let's go over to Cassandra. Yes, Heal would indeed be a green ability. So Cassandra is your starting early game healer, right? And see, like, I need to put a space here. What am I doing? She's in, we've actually revealed this class, so I'm okay showing this stuff. She is in the Waveseer class, and there are a variety of upgrades you can do with this. If we come over here, this is the healer. No, the healer does smash skulls. Don't worry, her animation will be very loud. But the upgrades range from really simple things like this increases the effect by 5, right? If you take this upgrade, her heal is going to heal for 28 instead of 23, or whatever value that may, come out being. Reduce mana cost by 5. These are both variable amounts depending on the ability, and they'll change. If an ability costs 70 mana, it's not going to, if you get a mana reduction, it's not going to be 5 mana. It's probably 10 or 15. There's also, you can increase the amount that it scales with Mastery, which is something that if you put them in a really high Mastery class, or they get stat blessed, or, you have a ring that gives them a lot of Mastery, this is something that, can take over this, what we call magnitude upgrade by being, just a higher value in general. Canadian Uncle Sam asks, are weapons dropped and purchased now like regular gear in another RPG? Yes. Weapons are tangible objects that you pick up. They aren't attached to the character. That being said, you cannot switch weapons in combat. It is very much an equipped part of your character that is like their kit at the time. So choosing runes and choosing your weapons going into a chapter is like a very conscious choice. Hex is asking, are the sound effects carried over from the first game? No, they are not. I will say, most of the audio is done via, SFX packs and stuff. There might be some overlap with those, but I don't believe at the moment that any sound effects are actually shared between the two games, and a majority of them are completely new. Let's see. Poki's saying Hourglass's duration. Yes. So this will make the Whirlpool last for one more turn, and this will increase the range that you can cast it from by 1. Back here. Sorry. Sin City. Oko is just wondering if the upgrades would adjust the functionality of an ability. Yeah, so not every ability is going to have a, big utility changing upgrade, but a lot of them do. And as we move through development, I'm probably going to implement more of these. They're just a little more work, so I got the foundation in place, and then as we test and figure out what's fun, we will, be changing that. But here, so let's take Hero Cleave, for example. Hero's Cleave. I always call it Hero Cleave. Who cares? This is Gwyn's personal ability, and it can be used to do an absolute assload of damage. Pokey, Whirlpool has 2 mana reductions because I'm lazy and I haven't changed all of the abilities to be on the new system yet. There's still some that have outdated upgrade mechanism. It used to be linear, now it's choose 2 of 4, so that's why. Oh, right, talking about the upgrade that I have taken, and I haven't really gotten to test yet because I just took this upgrade going into this chapter, but you can modify Hero's Cleave to heal you for 50% of the damage it does. Odin, please don't step on my power bar, buddy. My cats are little assholes. We're gonna just baby him for a sec. Say hello to the stream, buddy. He's my little one-eyed monster. He's very stinky. All right, buddy. I might have to kick them out because they keep jumping on my computer. But let me catch up here. Sorry. Yes, Hero Cleave. You can get lifesteal on it. Extremely powerful. But also, you're capped, for the most part, on how much mana you can actually generate and use. So it's not going to turn into a situation where you're just Nosferatuing and can tank an entire, enemy wave. This game, with the abilities and with enemy strength, is significantly, enormously more player phase centric than Dark Deity 1. You're going to be doing most of your best work on player phase. And enemy phase is a lot more dangerous than you're probably used to coming from the first game. Can we bask in awe at the statue of Benji? I wish. So, let's see. Arthur's abilities. We have Nijalam asking for Arthur's abilities. So, Arthur is in a class called the Geomancer right now. That's a little one for Pokey right there. Oh, what is he asking? What is traffic cone? That's the stacks. I'll get into that in a second. So, Arthur's personal is Lunar Reeve, which is a very fun ability, and I've actually been trying to do a better job experimenting with really stacking it up intentionally. I've been using Alden's Ancient Writ here, which grants an ally mana at the cost of his, to just absolutely load Arthur up. And then I'm having him Lunar Reeve over and over again. And then by the end of the level, he's one-shotting enemies. And I'm dumping a lot of resources to make it happen, but it's still, in my opinion, very fun. And then these two are his class abilities, Star Surge, which is sort of like a mini Blink with an AoE at the end of it. Allows you to, you can go over walls with it. You can do a lot of really fucky stuff with Star Surge. It's a very fun ability. There's another one that you can put lifesteal on. And then Moonlight. There are some classes outside of the shaman tree, which is, replacing the cleric, that can heal. In case you don't like the shaman characters or the shaman units, there are going to be options as healers outside of those characters. And yeah, I see. You can't really turtle in this game because of the turn limits. You have to play pretty aggressive because every chapter has a strict turn limit that you will lose by if you don't complete the objective in time. Let's see. How do magic units work other than abilities? Do they have tome weapons in this game to supplement these? They do. Yeah, it functions. The units and their combat are pretty much identical to the first game in a lot of ways, in like what you would expect. The magic characters have a magic attack, and that all is going to function like you're familiar with by and large. The abilities are on top of that, and both martial and magical characters have abilities in pretty much the same capacity. They're not intended to represent magic in any. Flame with Hand is mana surge, Pokey. It makes the ability also grant mana to the person that it's going to. Vampire Skateboard Elf for the win. Yeah, there's a lot of extremely goofy, unusual things that you can do in this game that I'm really excited to see people try out, because there's only so many things I can try in my amount of playthroughs. There's so many options. How strict are those turn limits? Is it like in FE3H how you can't go over 99? Is it something? Oh yeah, it's something that will impact you every single chapter pretty much. They're like 8 turns, 12 turns. It's not like stop farming you. They're like very intentional. Part of the difficulty of the maps, and this is something, if you read the dev blog from today, I went into a little bit in depth. The tightrope of making a fun Dark Deity 2 map is sort of this merging of, let me take into account how much mana does the player have, how much health does the player have, how are my enemies on the map fucking with those two things, what obstacles do you have to overcome, how much of your resources do you have to commit, how many units are you sending to a certain place, and then crafting a turn limit for the level that is reasonable, but pushes you to make more aggressive decisions than you would otherwise. Sorry, I'm trying to think the best way to say this out loud. There's like a confluence of all of the different ideas that comes together to create what I think can be a very compelling gameplay loop. In the first game, for the most part, you could just move really slowly, bait enemies into range. In this game, enemies will push you faster. They're going to be using abilities and actions on you. Like, there's more going on, but you also have a lot more tools to deal with the more that's going on. Let's see. And Zillarite asks correctly, it's something that's more tightly tuned on the hard mode, right? Yes, easier difficulties have much higher turn counts. Excuse me. The on deity mode in this game, the turn counts are going to be lower, which is, on top of the other added difficulty. That's going to be something that, yeah, so it's like XCOM 2. It is in a lot of ways. But the turn limits are something that really increases the difficulty of a chapter, and so it's something that changes with every different difficulty level of the game. Darren Atonin, thank you for the raid. Damn. Welcome. Thank you, I appreciate that. For newcomers, this is the first time I'm showing on stream some of the base from Dark Deity 2. We went over the weapons earlier a little bit, and we are talking about abilities right now. And there are various upgrades. And just a disclaimer that all of this is pretty early in dev still, so, you know, there's graphical errors, there's all sorts of, you know, stuff that's not final. We don't talk about that. Let's see, Jerry is asking, do a lot of these turn limits have a narrative explanation? Quite frankly, a lot of them don't. Some of them do, most of them don't. It's just a, it's just for the gameplay. If we really wanted to, there's pretty easy ways to go out of our way to, yeah, totally fair. Thank you so much for the raid. If we really wanted to, there's a lot of ways we could go out of our way and, you know, construct some believable reason that there's a turn limit. I've frankly kind of just said, fuck it, there's going to be turn limits because the gameplay benefits so enormously. I don't feel that much of a need to justify them. It's just part of the mechanics of the game, and I think you'll get used to it after a couple chapters, probably. Some chapters do, though. I have to actually go through and think about which one, because you work on these for so long, they kind of melt together in your head a little bit. But yeah, when we talk about like abilities being really functionally changed, you'll take an ability like Spinning Blade, which for a pretty big mana cost will block 18 damage for you. That's functionally how it works. Changing this so that you can also use it to clear yourself of debuffs can be very strong if, you know, this is a character that you're throwing out. You might be going into a map that has empowered enemies that will cause a lot of bleed on your units, or you see a lot of let's say you're using this unit as a tank and you see a lot of sellswords on the map. Sellswords are an enemy unit that can apply bleed stacks to your characters. It can be really useful to have this cleanse ability. And then, you know, boom, we upgrade it, we have it. Get the little knots there. Let's see, still right. A lot of Fire Emblem hacks explain turn limits with having almost unkillable reinforcements start swarming the map. Yeah, I kind of prefer... I know this is not necessarily the best case of design, if you want to say. But I think going out of my way to explain something like a turn limit would probably get more annoying than actually useful. Rather than just like, hey, this is good for the gameplay, so I'm going to do it. I lean towards that a lot of the time. Whether that's always a good thing, who knows? I gotta fix this. It's been going on for a while. They'll still show up, even if you don't have that ability yet. Pokey, you will be able to respec. I have not put the button in yet, but that will be a thing. Yeah, you'll be able to respec these. What you can't do is de-rune a weapon. But yeah, ambush spawns, very much not my thing. We don't fuck with ambush spawns. I try to telegraph if there's going to be reinforcements. I'm deeply against that. So let's switch gears here and talk about something that I think is going to be really fun. This menu is like mega undercooked, so don't worry. There's stuff going to be all over the place. Miss Moonshadow, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it and welcome. I'm assuming you came from the Serenitonin raid. Booyah. Rings are a very, very important mechanic in Dark Deity 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop between two menus right now. Yeah, you're going to spend a lot of time on the rings menu. So to craft a ring costs 3 gems. And you'll get gems from a variety of sources. But primarily, your gem income comes from your bonds. So, when we were designing Dark Deity 2, something that I didn't like about the first game, and something a lot of people don't like about the first game, is that the bonds are just there for story, which is cool. There's some good bonds, and there's it doesn't make it inherently a bad system, but there's so much more you can do with it. I wanted bonds to be an incredibly central upgrade mechanic in this game and central to your progression, but I didn't want the benefits from bonds to only come from combat, because if you get a cool new unit, and you bench one of your old ones that has a bunch of bonds, it's going to feel like ass to lose all of those benefits. The bond progression is very much an economy thing. Your gems, there's 4 gem types in the game that will only come from bonds. So leveling up your bonds is super, super vital to making sure that you're getting good rings. B-Train, welcome in. Long time no see. Thank you. I know, our UI artist is really good. I'm really happy with how it's all coming along. I think it blows the first game out of the water, personally. But yeah, different bond pairings have different gems, and then you'll come in, and as you level those up, still around. All right. I will say, when I'm showing off these bond things, I have not updated the actual link pairings in a long time. I don't think any of these bonds actually exist. But that's a tale for another time. He actually bonds with mostly different people than what is there. So, go back to the rings. Okay, Najalim asks, seems like everyone has S-rank bonds, which I presume means they are not 100% romantic. That is correct, and that's a good catch. I have not set this up internally yet, but how we will probably handle it is we will call the S A+ across the board, and then once you have achieved that max rank bond, if it happens to be romantic, it will switch to an S, so as not to like spoil that little piece of the bond. I think I will differentiate them just because I think people like to have that, you know, explicit menuing. But the plan is that they will be A+ and S. And also important to note, not every one of these has a conversation. You'll have a conversation on D, B, and S ranks. But because it's such a central progression mechanic, I wanted to have more levels to sort of work through to reward you for really committing to a combo of characters. And they do have to be somewhat near each other to get this bond XP. You don't get it from just deploying. So positioning your units together is a pretty, like, intentionally it's a part of the strategy of the game in a way, again, that it wasn't in the first game. Bunny Bun, welcome. What is good? I see, will the A+ and S bonds be limited? Like a character can only have one of each? No, there's no, well, you can max rank bond with everyone. And yeah, they're being written with the assumption that you can and will read them all. So that's a good way to put it, Zell. Thank you. There aren't any characters that are going to have multiple romantic options. If they have a romantic option, it's like a canon thing that is not... you don't have any agency over that. And it's not going to be like a super common thing. And yeah, Zill is an enormously hard worker. Zill has been cooking, to say the least. And then, yeah, these... it's funny, I just got this menuing, not that long ago. Well, here, hold on. Let me do something here. We don't actually have any of these conversations implemented right now, so I'm gonna, let's see. Do I have to turn on, dev god mode here for a second. I have a button that maxes, ignore this underbaked window here. I just want to show you what it looks like when it fills out. It has a nice, cute, flowy, as you fill out the bond levels. Anal Dynamite, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, what a name! What a name! That's fabulous. Here, I'll turn off my my dev god mode. Let's go back to the rings, which right, I just got a bunch of onyx from leveling that up. And again, I know someone's gonna come through after I just like scrolled through those and Hey yo, yeah, that's quite a name. I have a feeling I actually know who that is. I'm pretty sure that that's one of my real life friends. Uh, and if it is, I love you, Brett. Um, and Zill, hey Chip, remind me to poke you about my thoughts on this menu. Um, I'm sure it'll come up as you're playing it next time. I know this menu comes with quite a few issues. So again, don't take any of this as final. I do actually. There's things that I like about how this menu works. But yeah. So I don't think it should scroll. Yeah, this. I mean, it scrolls a lot. You have to scroll a lot to look at all the rings. It's a little too much at the moment. But again, so you have 2 ring slots. And there's really a lot you can do. Look at the ruby over here. I messed up the positioning while I was like fixing this. Okay. That's pretty funny. Anyway, rings are going to constitute like an extremely build divergent part of how you're equipping your character. There are so many different things you can combine. How they interact with the weapon you have equipped, how they interact with your weapon upgrades is pretty significant. Whereas you look at like here, I'll hover over the Prophet Ring. Healing gives 25 accuracy for 1 turn. This is something where there are some unique weapons in the game that have horrifically low accuracy, but like funnily high power. There's going to be ways to sort of jerry-rig this. Just as an example, one of the shamans has a personal ability that is a heal over time effect. And so you can proc this healing gives 25 accuracy for 1 turn for like 3 turns off of one ability. So if you put this ring on that character, you can slap that, you can heal a character that has low accuracy. And then come over and make sure I have the right person selected. Let's put Gwyn into the Seeker, right? This class has an ability called Illuminate, which my screen is covering right now, or my camera's covering right now. But it'll increase an ally's accuracy by a moderate amount, but for a long amount of turns. So you have someone heal this character, you have someone use Illuminate on this character, all of a sudden you have an ass load of power, and their low accuracy isn't going to be an issue, and they can just become a wrecking crew. Say you even, give them some block chance. Or some block stacks, excuse me, wrong word. What am I saying? There's a lot of different ways these systems can express, if you will, and come together to form interesting strategies, interesting builds. Najalem says, I see that female units still use largely male-looking sprites. For the most part, we don't have enormous differences between them. I wouldn't really call this one male-looking by any means. I mean, if we made the arms any smaller, they'd be like 1 pixel wide and look absolutely bizarre. It's something that we did look into, but we just like go through. The Devoted's like a little wide-chested, but I feel like Gwyn in her actual portrait is wearing a lot of armor. I think they all look within a feasible range, personally. Not a huge focus of our head swapping development is going towards, kickifying. Was referring mostly to the out of combat sprite. You mean like these small ones? Yeah, these are all the same, just with a different head pasted on them. You put the character into whatever class it is. Let's see. Yeah, all of the responses that are begging the characters to be a little bit more busty are truly something that I do not enjoy on a personal level. um, like unnamed devblog girl. Yes. Tasteful unnamed devblog girl. Yeah, Pokey, you're gonna have to come back and watch the VOD to document all of these leaks. So speaking of here, I do feel like I should probably like talk about this menu a bit. Now that we're here. Which I'm kind of jumping around here, but that's okay. So again, something that's important to me and something we did in the past is to show you your aptitudes. So these are the percentages for the stat to go up. New Destiny, welcome to the chat. If you are new, I actually don't know. I don't recognize your name. Sorry if you've been by before, but welcome. Either way. So again, yeah, it's very instantly accessible when you're thinking about changing a class. It'll show you what the new aptitudes will be, and this isn't the class. This is combined of the character and the class, which like Valyria is a Vanguard. Spoiler. That's probably also that's probably also going to go into Pokey's leak document. But her Nightblade is very different from Gwyn's Nightblade because she is personally a faster unit. She has a 30% defense aptitude, 65% speed. Gwyn in the Nightblade loses some speed, loses some defense too. Hey yo, I need to adjust these aptitudes. Apparently, that is not feel. That's not where that's supposed to be. Apparently Valyria has a shit ton of defense. I will be changing that. But yeah, you can see at a glance pretty easily what your aptitudes are going to be. And then like, I guess it's blocked by my camera, but the descriptions here aren't displaying properly. Dejalem says Might is a dual stat that impacts both magical and physical damage. That is correct. There's no longer strength and magic. They are combined into one Might stat. We have so many hybrid classes and hybrid class lines that it just like stopped making sense to have both a strength and magic. It restricts your builds too much. And you do Fire isn't napkin. Thank you for the follow. You do lose some level of interest, for sure, because I think some of the aspects, especially in Dark DD1, that will like drain your magic to increase other stats, were really interesting when you took a class down a magic tier 2 and a physical tier 3. But at the end of the day, the benefits of these classes being combined into one stat is pretty enormous. Yeah, Pokey's gonna be handing out leaks like he's dealing drugs on the corner. You're like, you want some of these leaks? Except this devlog is going to be up, so these are not leaks. I am very intentionally showing most of this to you. Valyria's defense being higher than Gwyn's was not on my bingo card. I don't know what I'm cooking on that one. Let's see. What else is there to show? Intentionally. Hybrids are cool. Sorry, when I said hybrids, I didn't mean units that can use both. I just meant class trees that like have both magical and physical options. Although, let's see if I like just changed the breakdown here. Let's go to the shop real quick. Buy a sword rune. Yeah, look at these going off screen. Delicious, beautiful stuff. Anyway, there are options like the scimitar, which again is a unique weapon. Some of the unique weapons have the option to use a rune to make your character deal magic damage instead of physical. So this is something where you can put in the arcane rune. Now you have an arcane scimitar, and you're going to deal magic damage. Which I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, I just did that, is very ironic that I put that on Saxon, because he has an ability that allows him to freely switch between magical and physical damage. So, pretty much a very useless rune right there on this particular character. Correct. That is correct. So, this has been changing throughout development, but how it works, you don't loot an arcane rune anymore. You loot a bow rune, and then you can use it to put one of the effects that is, approved for that weapon into the weapon. And then on the right here, you can see the smith runes. I'm still figuring out how I want to display this, but basically you have your bow rune and your bowsmith rune, and it's like a second tier of runes that can apply a second effect. So when you get to those late game weapons, the longbow isn't a very strong weapon, so you couldn't even put one in it if you wanted to. But when you get to late game weapons, you can put up to 2 runes in the weapon. The double magic damage is absolutely superior in style. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, you can't remove runes, but you can replace them. Will there be super legendary special Giga runes for late game customization? So, yes and no. Again, every unique weapon has a unique spread of runes that can go into it. And so some of the late game weapons are going to have stronger rune spreads that you're choosing from. So in that way, yes. But they're not like one-use things that you pick up in, I think, the way that you're suggesting. Yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else that is good to show right now. We've shown the bonds, which again, isn't this menu just kind of sexy with it? I really like the bonds menu. I think that our UI artist did a fabulous job on this. I just put this in yesterday, so from start to finish. Let's see. What's an elixir? I was wondering if someone... So, ignore this UI because, there's no UI for it. It's just a bunch of boxes right now. These are your stat boosters. I don't have any stat boosters right now. But they just have their own menu. You would just, click on the character that you want to put it onto, click on Elixir of Dexterity, and then it'll increase their dexterity. I don't know if I want to put this into a different menu. I feel like it's fine to just kind of be its own simple thing. It's not going to be that crazy of a menu. Oh, ability leaks. Oopsie. My Reardon is hilariously busted at the moment. He's easily my best unit. I'm not going to go too far into that because I don't want to show off his class yet. But yeah, I think I've gotten through everything that I was planning to show today. So I might call the stream there. And we have a ton of people in here right now. This is not typical. So thank you everyone for dropping by. People who aren't normally here. I'm going to generally be trying to just actually play the game on stream more often now that we're getting further into dev and it's not hideously embarrassing what it looks like. Jungo, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Again, I'm always very open to any questions. Again, I want your guys' thoughts. This is a game that's still pretty far from done, and the first game was changed so much because of what people thought about systems. So all the questions you guys ask, immensely helpful on my end. Let's see, Doolittle, next time show something I can drool over that's not menus and numbers like some kind of nerd. Yeah, I'll try to. New Destiny, we do not have an estimated release date yet. And that's very intentional. With the first game, again, I was in college for most of development on the first game and learning the code for half of it. And then we were like, yeah, Q1 2021, we'll make that. Horrible idea. So until we know for sure we can finish it by the time we announce, we're not going to be announcing the release date. Let's see. Pack in the old man for next stream. Maybe I should. But yeah, again, I'll be on stream next Tuesday. I haven't thought about yet what that's going to look like. But I'll probably try to do something actually gameplay related. And yeah, that'll be that. I'm always around in the Discord if anyone wants to ask questions. Thank you all for dropping by as per usual. And I hope everyone has a lovely week. Booyah.